The thing that was absolutely wonderful about Anna within the training, because it's a lot of work. It's so brutal. You're a character that's beginning this path. You're becoming an assassin. So you're also going to get your ass kicked. You're going to get thrashed. And she's like, cool, okay, cool, I'm in. And like we'd on set, it would be, she'd show up, show me the bruises, the marks, the scars, and they became like merit badges. She's like, I'm like, this is what it is. And the thing that she is wonderful at, and I think a lot of people don't really think about this too often, of you can really have the choreography down, have perfect choreography, but if it feels like you are remembering it and even doing a brilliant job, a lot of times the acting is secondary to remembering the choreography, and she is acting all through that, which is, for a director, amazing.
She's delightful to work with. Obviously, she's got a reputation and prestige, and they wanted her for this. They wanted her very much. She's the right age, the right look, and apparently she fights very well.
The only action I've ever seen her do was James Bond. And as a matter of fact, that was the first time I'd ever seen her. And this role requires such... it just seems like once she gets going, pretty much 2/3 of the movie is just her fighting and running for her life, and killing 20 people at a time. But there's so much pathos to the character, so it requires such a deep and nuanced level of acting. And so because I think she's capable of doing both, I think it's really going to be exciting to see her do this.
She's really good at memorizing fights. She's really good at mathematically putting them all down. I mean, she's a really good actress as well. She's very smart. She's fun to work with. She's got a great attitude. She's always smiling. She's always ready to go. Yeah, it's kind of a great team here.
I think she's a great actress. I think she's a fantastic actress, and I think she can definitely do justice to the name of, Wick. I think she's going to be great.
We tried a suit. We tried a tie at one point. We did experiment, but then she put the coat on and it fitted perfectly, and she was like, this is it, this is the one, I love it. And we all loved it. And as I said, it matched her eyes, it felt right. She wore a fantastic bodysuit that was flexible, and then there was another suit that we put together for her and tailored it to her specifically, and that was for the Continental. So everything just fell into place.
Yeah, Anna's intensity, she was really focused. I've done a few films with her, and just as soon as we got into training, I saw her focus and her talent, and what was cool to see was that she was having fun. Like that while we were training and doing it, it was nice to see that she was enjoying it, And then when we would get the choreography together, to see her shift into her next gear, like wow, and go, was really cool to see.
Eve's just getting off in her, or just starting off in her career, so she's a little bit newer. She makes mistakes, she corrects. Emotionally, she's seeing a lot of this stuff for the first time. It's like her foray into the Wick world, and I think that's the fun part. You get to see her evolve in it and not just be a badass, you get to see her become a badass. The protagonist comes from that background of a father-daughter story of an orphan child in a ballet school that's trying to find her way, and how she deals with another orphan or another child that needs help.
I love the script, I love the story, I love the character. I was a big fan of the John Wick franchise and of Keanu, of course, and I just saw beyond all the action that was on the page, I just saw how much heart, there was in the movie, and I just loved the story.
That I really liked about the script was that it was kind of the opposite of like John Wick's story, in the sense that John Wick is trying to get out. This was a story about a person that was deciding and wanting to get in and become an assassin. So that fascinated me because we've seen different iterations of the assassin who's either already a legend or trying to get out. John Wick being one of the best of that, in my opinion. But not very often do you get to see somebody who wants in. And what does that mean about that person? Like, what makes a person decide, you know what, I think I should become an assassin? And what mentally is going on there to get to that point?
It's because of his sincerity as a human being and because of his love of the character. I think it's important that he came back again. Oh, yeah. Because if it's a reference to John Wick, also, you know, I said, you and Chad, so you better make sure that it follows in the tradition. Be there for a while, set the tone. So that's why he came out early. I mean, we're only in, what, the fourth week of production? But they've had us all in here. So, I mean, you've had John, you've had John Wick, you've had Keanu, and then you've got me doing my bit now, and then Angelica will be coming in. So it sort of sets the tone for the rest of the movie, which I think is a good thing, and I think Anna appreciates that as well.
Script, I was really, I didn't think you could find a way to expand the world in a way that felt completely different and at the same time completely connected, but they did. And the thing that you know, it's interesting. I was talking to Len, the director, tonight, and I asked him, you know, are you a big fan of classics, particularly Shakespeare, because it feels very Shakespearean, because it deals with the bounds, individuals trying to assert their individuality within the bounds of cultural restrictions. But this takes it to the level of family. So it made me think of Lear and, you know, Hamlet, all that stuff. And the action, even though the story is incredibly cohesive and exciting, the action's off the hook.
Been a big fan of the original two John Wicks, and had written this script about an assassin cult that lived in Switzerland, and a little bit of a revenge story with this lead female character. And it was kind of funny, I think, because I think it was Thunder Road, Balzanic, who was reading it as I'm shooting John Wick 3. And it was all about ballerinas and all this kind of little ballerina box. And I was big into ballet at the time. I was trying to put a ballerina sequence into John Wick 3, which is part of the Resca Roma where John Wick comes from. And they thought, oh, that's kind of coincidental, that kind of fit. And I think their heads went spinning, wow, this could be, it felt of the world.
My sons who love the John Wick films, and I'm a fan myself, and when I got the call about Ballerina, my boy said, you have to do it. So I read the script, took the initial call with Len, and you know, we got on very well. We share a very similar aesthetic. So, you know, when you've got a person like that in your camp, it makes it so much easier, and you can push the film so much further. So I've had a really great experience working with Len and Roman and the team.
Just watching a John Wick movie, it's incredible, the world that they build around John Wick. And when I read the script, for me it was very interesting to find that there is a town where the assassins live. And it's okay to be an assassin, and they teach children how to be an assassin. And they are, you know, they're who they are, and it's okay.
It was full on, you know, it was a like really intense training for quite a long time. There was a lot of strength training and then just hours and hours at the stunts facility at 8711 with the most amazing stunt crew. And we just worked our way up to getting me ready to take on this kind of action at the level that I needed to be. It was a good progression of the training. We started like from very basic things, which were a great foundation for the training. And then, you know, getting more specific into designing the choreos and leaning into my strengths and the things that we knew they were easier for me to do, and just kind of like tailoring the fights to my comfort level. And then it was just fun to learn how to handle the guns and all the weapons that I had to use in the movie, and growing in confidence and like control. And I felt like I genuinely got to the point of like feeling good about starting on day one in the movie, and just I was ready for it.
I'm shooting a television show in France right now, and I was like, guys, it's John Wick. You gotta let me go. And they're like, okay, it's John Wick. You can go. But you know, everybody there's been texting me, how's it going? How's it going? How's it going? Everyone's super jealous. Good. Let them be jealous, and excited for me as well. But yeah, when they first approached me, first thing I said was, absolutely, it's happening. You guys are gonna let me off this TV show. But you know, everybody's just really excited for me, and I'm excited for me. You know, it's John Wick. You know what I'm saying? It's the best.
Yeah, I mean, seeing, training with Anna, and then getting to the scenes that we have. We use this. If we use this word toughness, I mean, making movies is tough, but it's so much fun. Her character is she's lost some of her family, and she's trapped in a world. But what's interesting about the character to me is that she wants to do, but she doesn't know what she's actually saying yes to. So there's an innocence to the character, but a strong passion, and in a way kind of still fighting in the same way that John Wick was for a kind of freedom, to get outside of the forces and that are impacting her life. She's a wonderful actress, so talented, and her, that core strength, that core being able to kind of draw that up and to show that, and what was cool to see her do that physically, but also just in the stillness, in the scenes that we had together. She's quite a presence.
It's always tricky to do John Wick without John Wick, or John Wick adjacent, or however you want to put it. But I think one of the fascinating things in the franchise to me is kind of the world creation. Mm-hmm. Like we always say, I'm a big fan of Greek mythology and Tolkien and all kinds of fantasy-esque worlds like that. So to build your own world and take it, and in the features of John Wick, we have that 2 hours, 2 hours and 40 minutes sometimes, to explore the worlds. And it's usually, very John Wick centric. We're always with the characters, so we don't really have time to explore all the worlds, which is why TV and an anime are always exciting. But also the ancillary features, like Ballerina, give us a chance to explore that world. Is it something people want to see? I think so. Can we make the characters exciting and stuff? I think so. They're intrinsically going to be different than John Wick. Mm. I think if we just tried copying the same story of our protagonist, it would get redundant or feel a little bit out. But trying to give each of our leads a different story arc, I think, is what we're hoping for.
You're able to see, kind of taking a peek behind the curtain of how the Roskoroma operates, because, again, we have Eve coming into it from the beginning.
And seeing how one is trained to become an assassin. So what Eve goes through, you can kind of imagine that through her journey in Roskoroma, that this is possibly what John Wick would have had to go through in some of his training. So it kind of gives you a window into the possibility of what he might have gone through in his journey for that.
If you're coming in from that point of view of somebody who's totally brand new to it, and experiencing how they train, how they move up the ranks, and a really, really brutal boarding school.
It was thrilling to be able to create a John Wick suit because it's iconic, and Keanu was like, yeah, look, it's just another version, right? And to me, it was so much more than that because I brought in one of my favorite tailors and we worked together on it and chose the most beautiful wool and made sure his trousers were flexible. We had extra pairs for all his stunts, but John Wick's a proper hero, and for me it was like, I don't know, building a Batman costume. So I loved it.
Well, one of the benefits of this film is we get to flesh out John Wick 3, Anjelica Huston's, the director's world. What's behind the scenes, like where do they live, how do they live, what goes on there, this shooting range, what's their dormitory like. So it was good for us to be able to flesh that out and tell that story.
The whole action sequence, I've never been in an action movie doing action scenes. That was interesting. I mean, like, you just have to be open to experiences, new experiences in your life, and this is one of them.
The grenade scene, just because it's such a big scene and the way it just keeps getting better and better, and you can see the character, her wheels turning and seeing how she can figure this out and get out of this place alive. And the complexity of the scene and the amount of people that are coming at her and just like close combat with the grenades and hammer and whatever she can find to fight these people. It was so great. It was just badass.
The style of Ballerina is tailored, slick, sharp, expensive, and crazy but glamorous.
Love is that it's a lot of fun. It's a new take on a different perspective of coming into the assassin world, because this is a character that is beginning, is starting, is wanting to become an assassin. So that's a very different entry point, which allows just a fun way to look at the world from a different view. And the action is incredible. Like sequences that we've never seen before. And that's something that's very important to me. What have I not seen?